The scourge of duplicate payments continues. Best practice organizations know they need to take action to ensure that this money isn't gone forever. Stick around while we share 5 tactics you can use to ensure your suppliers don't hold on to your hard-earned profits. Hi guys, I'm Mary Schaefer, founder of AP Now, the place where we address all the issues related to accounts payable and payments function. These short sound bites are for those who work in, manage, or have responsibility for the accounts payable function. So let's talk about our 5 tactics, if you will. Number 1, and this is really important because a lot of people don't know this, recognize and accept the fact that most of your vendors won't voluntarily return the duplicate payments that you make. Now, sometimes folks are astounded by this, and I like to say it's 1 in 100 suppliers who actually will return those duplicate payments, but I've been corrected and been told that I'm too generous on that, and in some industries, absolutely no vendors will return them. Now, what some of them do, or a good number of them do, will be they'll issue a credit memo, and that's great. That's absolutely great. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you may have to make sure that you have processes in place to make sure that you get that credit memo, because too often companies don't get the credit memos, or when they do get the credit memos, they get lost. That's a whole nother subject, and probably one I should do a little piece on, which I guess I will, but I digress, okay? So number 1, realize you're going to have to take action. Step number 2, and this is, I don't want to say it's the most important piece of action, but it is definitely one of the most important pieces of action you can take when it comes to these duplicate payments. You want to do regular statement audits. And by this, I mean you have to call up or email all your vendors and ask them to send you a statement showing all activity. You need to make a real point that it's all activity, not just all open invoices, because they're really happy to send you open invoices, less happy to tell you about the credits, or at least some of them. So you want to do a statement audit at least once a year for each vendor. So it doesn't mean you have to do them all at once. You can do, you can break it into actually 12ths. You do a 12th in January, a 12th in February, etc. Okay, tactic number 3, if you will. Anytime you find a duplicate payment, be it that you found it in an audit or you found it yourself, you want to investigate. And you want to investigate, how was it that this duplicate payment was made? How did it come to be? And then you want to look for any loopholes that you might have in your process that allowed it to happen. And then you want to close them so that this doesn't happen again. Because as we talked about at the beginning, duplicate payments rarely returned, okay? And even if you do get them back, the supplier had your money for a while. Now, before we discuss what to do when there seems to be a serious issue with one or more of your suppliers with regards to duplicate payments, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. It's free, completely private, and you can unsubscribe at any time. And if you're watching on YouTube, by ringing that bell next to the subscribe button, you'll be notified when we post new content, which we do 3 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's about accounts payable. And at 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings, we're posting our new Wordle videos. And by the way, on YouTube, you don't need a YouTube account. You can subscribe if you have a Gmail account. Okay, tactic number 4. If you have multiple duplicate payments from the same vendor, what you need to do is take a deep dive and look into it and figure out whether it's intentional or just the nature of the business. In some industries, this might be something that happens all the time, and in others, not so much. And even if you discover that you think, hey, the vendor's doing this on purpose, realize that it's probably not in your best interest to go ahead and accuse the vendor of anything. You just need to take steps on your end to make sure that you don't make duplicate payments to this vendor. How are you going to do that? Well, that's step number 5, if you will. You want to create what I call an act list. Always check thoroughly. And you want to put on this list vendors who maybe intentionally play games, or just the nature of their business, they tend to get duplicate payments. And with these vendors, you want to double check them before any payment is made. And hopefully you don't have a lot of vendors on this list, so it's not that many invoices. But when you know where you have those pain points, if you will, and in this case I'm calling pain points those vendors who are playing games, then yeah, you want to put in that little extra effort to make sure that you get them back. Now, Thinking that all vendors will return duplicate payments isn't the only misconception that people have about accounts payable. In episode 139 of the AP Now podcast, we discussed 8 misconceptions that many accounting groups have about accounts payable. There is a link to that in the show notes, and on YouTube, a link to it will appear momentarily to the left. And as always, I always appreciate your comments, your thumbs up, your subscribes, and your shares. They're very much appreciated. So good luck